How would you feel if you experienced image distortion, loss of personal identity, and hallucinations? Bad, right? Well, cannabis offers this. Cannabis, often referred to as marijuana, is a non-chemically uniform drug from the cannabis plant. Cannabis is often used in the medical field as it offers benefits to chronic pain, nausea, vomiting, and even seizures. Many, however, use cannabis outside of this medical necessity. Using cannabis outside of medical necessity can be terrible and place negative side effects onto you. Cannabis is extremely harmful and dangerous. Today I plan to discuss how harmful cannabis can be, why protesting the use and advertisement of cannabis can be beneficial, and how cannabis is negatively affecting our future. First, cannabis harms one's health, cognitive ability, and leaves an addiction-like impact. In the book titled Marijuana as Medicine, The Science Beyond the Controversy, Mac Joy explains how cannabis smoke pollutes the lungs. Mac also illustrated how cannabis has been linked to both respiratory injury, cancer, heart disease, and other illnesses. All these factors greatly harm the health of the individual who consumes and takes cannabis. These factors also harm the health of those around those individuals. A perfect example of this would be a healthy brain. And then this right here is a deteriorating brain due to the use of cannabis. In their research study, the National Library of Medicine concluded that cannabis affects one's memory, learning ability, and decision making. Picture having your working memory, your verbal memory, your immediate and delayed memory all being heavily hindered or in some cases practically gone due to cannabis. Now picture your ability to process information, apply skills, study. All this would become extremely difficult thanks to cannabis again. Lastly, picture indecisiveness and poor decisions within your mind. Well, cannabis makes this all possible. When individuals begin taking cannabis, it becomes extremely difficult for them to quit it and to limit their intake. One of the key factors in this is how cannabis changes your brain's reward system. It leaves you wanting more in order to feel good or better, or else you'll start experiencing really bad headaches, withdrawals, whatever it may be. Cannabis also releases endocannabinoid receptors, which increases relapses and dependency onto the cannabis. Now we've seen how harmful cannabis can be. Let's see why protesting the use and advertisement of cannabis can be beneficial. Protesting the use and advertisement of cannabis can reduce the amount of cannabis taken, along with how the public and adolescents view the harmful drug. Protests often raise awareness of the harmful effects drug can have on the overall public. If protests are both large enough and have enough influence, stricter laws and regulations can be enforced. New norms could also be found with successful protests, which can further decrease the use and impact cannabis has. In a research study, the CDC, Preventing Chronic Diseases, discovered how advertisement of cannabis increased the use of U.S. adolescents in grades 8, 10, and 12. 52.8% of these adolescents experienced cannabis advertisement. As a result, 13.8% of these adolescents then reported cannabis abuse. This study highlights just how much of a negative impact advertisement of cannabis has on the adolescents and the necessity for why we need to protest this. Protests can help with this as young people particularly respond well to them. Many young people are influenced by movements, and if cannabis is put in a bad light, it can further drive the young away from it. This can issue a domino effect and greatly decrease the grip cannabis has on America today. Now let's see how much of an impact cannabis really has on the future of our country. Cannabis is currently hurting the U.S. economy, hindering development for the next U.S. generation, and increasing danger within the U.S. Cannabis declines worker productivity, which as a result affects countless businesses and the economy as a whole. Think about jobs that require intense focus and responsibility. Cannabis reduces the ability to perform and the efficiency as to which each job is done. Cannabis also affects brain development and capability of the next generation. This will make the next generation less effective and resourceful, and will also provide a more laid-back, lazy environment, which will help overall productivity. Cannabis increases more impairing driving accidents along with crime. An encyclopedia from the Journal of Studies on Alcohol and Drugs in 2022 issued that THC, a compound found in cannabis, led to an increase in motor vehicle crashes. Cannabis has also been traced back to the abuse of worse and even more damaging drugs, such as meth and heroin. Cannabis is extremely harmful to one's health and cognitive ability. Protesting the use and advertisement of cannabis can be extremely beneficial, and cannabis is negatively affecting our future. cannabis is extremely harmful and dangerous. Now, would you ever be willing to engage in cannabis?